So y'all, like a month went by of him being in his hometown or whatever, getting nursed back to health. And after that, like, I kept asking the questions like, so you just gonna still pay rent while you've been there all this long time? And I was like, maybe you should try to, do something different. He was just over it, like, and also he had told me like he had gotten approved for short-term disability. And that's what he said. And I'm like, okay. Oh God. But he started like kind of getting agitated with me, and I could tell because I kept asking questions like, so what about the apartment? What about the job? What's going on? Because I'm thinking, I really like this guy, so I need to know what your finances gonna be like. Anywho, he ended up ghosting me. He ghosted me for an entire month. And I was pissed. This is when I was like, I am never dating one guy again at a time. Like, yeah, I will be dating multiple people because I was extremely pissed. He ghosted me. And then, like a month or some change later, I had started dating other people, by the way. But a month and some change later, and the guy ends up sending me a text, or he calls from a different number. I didn't know the number. And he's like, oh, this is so-and-so. I'm like, I don't think I responded. I don't know what happened. But I know I was just like, so? Like, you're done now. Like, there's no chance. At this point, there's no chance in hell that I want you. And so I kept stressing to him. Like, he tried to come back like it was nothing. He wanted to come by and see me. And I was like, I did not think he was too sketchy. So I did invite him to my house because he said he was just going to drop through. And so I let him drop through. And at the time, my kitchen was being renovated. So I had like Tupperware, pots, pans all over my living room. It was literally nowhere for him to sit. And I remember somewhere in that conversation, somehow we started talking about salaries. And I told him a ballpark maybe about how much I made salary wise. Then he left my house, like he was only here for probably 5 to 10 minutes. He left, and the next thing I know, I don't know if he had called me that night, I can't remember, but within a week he starts like asking about being in a relationship with me. And I was like, sir, you ain't dealing with no dummy. I said, first of all, you ghosted me. Like, I don't even know you at this point. Second, and I didn't tell him this, but I'm like, funny that now that you know my salary, now you're asking about a relationship when we had been dating or pen paling, whatever we were doing, for 3 months. And then you ghosted me for a month, and now you're coming back and talking about a relationship. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do with that. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I did not want to be in a relationship with this man at all. But he was a fun friend. In fact, we still kind of keep in touch, But I've let him know, like, it's not a chance in hell. But I will say, in between all of that, it was about a year of him just asking me, over a year of him asking to be in a relationship with me. He just kept it going, and I was coming up with every excuse in the book. First of all, you ghosted me. But I'm like, okay, I've never seen your house. I've never been there. It took forever for me to actually confirm that you have a daughter. Oh God. And that he wasn't like married or engaged. Like, I asked those questions so many times, especially when we first met up. I was like, so are you seeing anybody? Do you have someone pregnant? Like, what is the deal with you, man? That's the cherry, y'all. But anywho, it literally took forever, and oh God, it is some stories. Towards the end of that little want to be in a relationship with me type thing, so I told him, I said, okay, at some point I was like, I'm just tired of him asking. So I was like, okay, I'll give you a trial period. And the trial period was, I will pretend date you, and I need to test out, like, I need to really get to know you, because at this point, like I said, I've never been to his house. I don't know anything about this man, really. Nothing. Other than he's funny and he's entertaining to talk to. And I did the trial period for probably like a month or so. And I was just like, alright, time is about to be up on this trial period. I still haven't seen your house. So he started spazzing out about that. So many stories on the in-between, but I will probably have to get to that in another point in time. Anyways, I had started looking for somebody else. Like, I honestly, yeah, I had started dating other people and like looking at other people well before. Like, I never stopped after he ghosted me, and I was like looking for other people. I never stopped like looking for other people. He was just still just hanging back there asking about a relationship, and I knew, I guess it was kind of like for entertainment purposes with me. I wanted to see how far his lies would go, and you know, would he ever come clean? I found out that he was a liar. After he had ghosted me, he told me, and we did reconnect. He had told me one night that he was out to a high school basketball game. He said a high school that didn't really exist. It was just like, you know, one of those West and East type schools. Well, he said the school, but he didn't say whether it was East or West. So I looked up the East school and the West school to see who had a game. And so I had asked him, like, did they win or did they lose? And he told me, like, oh, they lost or something. And the only one, the East or West, I can't remember which one, but one of them wasn't playing that night. One of them did have a game, but it was the opposite result of what he said. So if they won, he said they lost. And I was just like, this just don't make no sense. He was just getting caught up in lies at a certain point, and it just became entertaining to me. And I just kept it going because, I don't know, maybe I was bored. Okay, now to wrap this up, that was 3 years ago when I met that man. He couldn't get his story straight. So he just said, oh, I'm going to end this trial period. I was like, okay, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. And that guy had completely, like, I thought he cut me off after the new year because I saw that he was no longer like following me on social media. Like, he blocked me and everything. So I was like, oh, maybe he got rid of me after he ended that trial period. Maybe he decided he was going to bring the new year in fresh without me. I didn't make the list. So months later, he ended up randomly calling me, and I'm like, who is this? I thought that you cut me off. Like, I didn't think I was gonna be into your new year at all. You know, it's been months since I even had talked to him, and I was so happy about it. But then, like, I guess I started to think, like, overall, he was a good friend. Other than his lying and everything, I was like, well, he's a fun person. I met up with this guy, not for dating purposes, but just catch up, see how he's doing. And I kind of learned that he was still trying to, like, pursue me, and I was just like, no, sir. Like, let me just be clear that there's not a chance in hell, but I enjoy your friendship. And I don't know, I kind of feel like, is that bad? But at least I told him, like, there's seriously no chance in hell. There's no chance in hell. I can't do a liar. But anywho, he ended up coming, like, finally he came clean, and then just a little bit clean. But he told me that he never lived where he said he lived, which was like 20-30 minutes away. He always lived... No, actually, see, this is why I think it's half true of his story. Like, because he told me that he had moved to my hometown, which is like 2 hours or an hour from his hometown. And so now he's still saying that he lives in my hometown. And I really don't believe that, because when he did say that he had moved there, that's when I was like, okay, I would like to see where do you live, you know. And I was just asking him questions about, like, he would say, oh, I went to this store or that store, and I'm like, which one, you know. And he couldn't get his story straight with those. So I still think he's lying a bit about his exact location. But I found out that he never lived where he had told me he lived, 20-30 minutes away. The whole time he had lived hours away from me. That's why we weren't seeing each other. Another thing that I recently found out that he lied about, he was not in the career. He told me he was a physical therapist. He had never done that before. Never. And I was like, well, where did that lie come from? Like, why? Like, this guy, he made up so much. And that's why it's never a chance in hell I would ever date him. Yeah, no. And I'm so glad that it just didn't get serious at all. But I will say, for entertainment purposes and lessons for me to stop being so naive, I'm so thankful for that. Because he taught me a lot of lessons. Like, 1, not to be naive. 2, what was the second? Oh, to date multiple people, you know, until you really find that one that's rock solid. And 3 is probably something that I already knew, but I didn't touch on it much here. But the whole male gold digger, or what's the other word? Freeloader. Like, I think he kind of had some freeloading tendencies, especially, like, he came to my house and was like, you know, okay, and how much you make? And then, oh, let's be in a relationship. And you keep going, and I'm like, I'm not giving you anything at this point, sir. And you still ask me for a relationship for almost 2 years, and I'm giving you nothing. I'm telling you, like, I'm dating someone. I'm dating other people. I'm not ready. No, I don't trust you yet. And it's probably my fault for not being as clear, but at the end of the day, I I just like the entertainment, so maybe I'm guilty for that. And literally, like, maybe I'm just bored with my life. But anyways, yeah, the guy was a big liar. And it's so sad. And now he has told me when he came clean, he said he went to therapy about it. And, you know, I actually told him, I was like, the sad part is, I knew you were lying the whole time. Like, after a while, I knew you were a liar. And that's what turned me off. I said, if you hadn't have been lying about things and maybe just told the truth about who you were and what your situation was in life, I said, I probably would have really liked this guy. And we probably would have been, oh, that sounds weird to say. But yeah, like, I would have been much more open to dating him on a more serious note had he told the truth. So I guess the moral of the story is just be yourself and stop lying. I have many more online dating stories, but yeah, I'm not feeling online dating at this point. Yeah, if he don't just fall out of my ceiling, I don't know what's gonna happen. See you guys next time. I guess there'll probably be more to this story to talk about the crazy man or the lying man, and then some crazies and all of that stuff too. But thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my stuff so I can get to a bigger audience, okay?